Quite terrifying economic news coming out this morning. Secretary of the Treasury Janet Yellen has notified Congress that the U.S. will reach its current debt limit by next Thursday if no further action is taken. This would mean that the Treasury Department would have to start going into reserves of cash and other measures in order to keep their government programs funded temporarily and in order to hope that something happens before the country fully defaults on its debt. And she's also urging Kevin McCarthy to work with the Senate and work with Joe Biden to figure out what to do to not let this happen and to raise the statutory debt limit, which is necessary to prevent um, to prevent all of these measures from having to be taken. And it's a pretty critical thing for the U.S. economy that this happens. Whenever this doesn't happen, we're losing more and more reserve funds, and certain programs might be funded less, and it makes it more unstable because it's unclear how long that money, our current reserve money, can uh, last for, and how much the extraordinary measures would be able to actually do in order to keep the programs alive. So it's pretty clear that Congress needs to do something here. The White House, in agreement. Kevin McCarthy, spokeswoman, has no comment. So Republicans have who have publicly declared a lot of opposition to Biden's agenda and more government spending in particular, making agreements that make it harder to reach the debt ceiling. That's part of their new rules package that it can't be combined into certain bills that must be voted on individually, which makes it less likely to pass because if it was combined in another bill, a certain member might be against raising the ceiling, but for other things in the bill, and they would vote yes. So that's another roadblock that's been implemented for raising this ceiling now that the new Republicans have taken over. So if nothing happens, what would happen? Well, the country would default on its debt, and this has never happened. So it's all really speculative what exactly the result would be, but it we have a pretty general idea, and but basically it's terrible. It would be a complete and total disaster for the country and really all the world in such a major country having to default at its debt on its debt. The dollar would be lose a lot of its value, and that would screw up a lot of trade, investments, markets. Our unemployment would increase for at least 2 to 4 years. GDP would fall by 2%. 6 million jobs would be lost, and definitely a recession would occur there. So it's definitely something that we have to avoid, and hopefully for the sake of the country, it never gets to this end. But this work starts now, and before next Thursday, Congress will have to agree to raise the debt limit to prevent the country from reaching the debt limit and having to go into emergency funds to fund critical programs.